I'm curious at your perspective on Zohran Mamdani, because in many ways he is embodying the kind of, the stances, especially from a financial perspective, right, and affordability. He has positions that many deem controversial, but he's not ashamed to say that it's too expensive to live in New York City. We need to freeze the rent. We need to figure out ways to make groceries more affordable.
The thing that's stunning to me about Mamdani is obviously Wall Street, that's the industry that I came from, is devastated. It's up in arms that a Democratic socialist could potentially be the mayor of New York. I can say that every person that I cover is straight up freaking out over. What's more amazing to me is they're freaking out over a single individual who identifies with being a socialist Democrat, but he's a single individual who, if he were to be the mayor of this city, the most extreme aggressive things that he wants to do will be almost impossible for him to actually get done, because he got to get it through a city council. He's got to get it through a governor, right? Impossible. But these same voters who are also big donors, who aren't Trumpers, are panic stricken over this guy destroying the future of our city. And I'm not opining on whether or not he will or his views on anything. But these same people are basically giving a pass and looking the other way when you have a president who is blowing through the rule of law, creating a trade war that is going to make life more expensive here, that is crushing businesses, that the trade war is the reason that the Fed chair, Jay Powell, hasn't cut interest rates, which makes everything here more affordable. He's ignoring the rule of law, right? He's potentially making moves that will hurt the U.S. dollar, right? The reason everybody invests in the U.S. dollar, the reason other countries invest their money in the U.S., one of the main reasons is because they trust the rule of law, because we have three separate but equal branches of government. And if suddenly we don't, if suddenly we start behaving in an autocratic way or like a banana republic, people aren't going to invest their money here because they can't trust it. And it's amazing to me that these Wall Street investors who are setting their hair on fire over Mamdani, and I get it why they're not voting for him, but there's a difference between not voting for the guy and being absolutely paralyzed and panic stricken over him. And these same people are like, oh, Trump talks a big game on the trade war. It's not really going to happen. That's what I don't understand. It's amazing to me because this is not about capitalism versus democratic capitalism. The thing that's the biggest threat to capitalism right now is not Zohran Mamdani. It's crony capitalism. And crony capital, right? Conscious capitalism is where we should be moving to. But the kind of capitalism that the president is employing right now is crony capitalism, right? The Treasury Secretary has met with all different business leaders, and I've spoken to many of them who've said when they make their case to him, when they say to the Treasury Secretary, sir, we get all of our parts from overseas, or we can't manufacture here. Those businesses don't exist in the United States. If we wanted to do it, it would take 10 or 20 years and trillions of dollars. The Treasury Secretary's answer is, you should go meet with the president. And you know what happens when you meet the president? He says, well, what do you have to offer me? Right? It wasn't me, but somebody said, the president's approach to trade is that of an outer borough mobster. You want to get something to the president? What's in it for him? And so it's amazing to me when you said to me, if you were to say to me, what does a Wall Street investor do for a living? The answer is they're a risk manager. They look at a business, they look at a country, they look at an environment, and they say, these are all the factors, right? Given all these factors, what are the risks associated? And can this business, can this venture make money? That's what they do. They assess risk. It's incredible to me that the Wall Street community will look at the president over and over and over and look at how he behaves and look at what he does and still say, maybe I'll get my way. And it's because they believe he's transactional. And in many ways he is, but in many ways, he's the same person he was in business. He agrees to a transaction. And then when it comes time to pay, whether you're his creditor or his contractor or his counterparty, he just doesn't pay. Don't believe me? Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk gave the president, what was it, $300 million to help him get elected? I mean, even more valuable than the money was basically gave him Twitter, right? To spout and amplify every bit of information or misinformation he wanted. And now Elon Musk, who had unfettered access to DC and the federal government, has now left DC. And if there's anybody who's the most up in arms over the big, beautiful budget bill, it's Elon Musk. And what has Donald Trump's response been? Well, maybe Doge is about to come after you, sir. Maybe you'll get deported.
But isn't that...
So for everybody who's panicked over Mamdani, I get why you're upset over him, but why aren't you upset over what the president's doing?
But we hope you enjoyed this episode of The People's Cabinet. If you did, please like, subscribe, ring that bell, and put in the comments below who else you'd like to see sworn in. And stay tuned for new episodes every Tuesday. Let's go.